If you want to buy a phone with removable battery in 2024, by far the best choice you can make is the Fairphone. I forgot to mention this phone last time in my last year's video, but I'm doing it now. Currently we are at the Fairphone 5, so it's the 5th iteration, and they have improved a lot. It is kind of expensive, but considering everything you're getting here, long-term software support, hardware replaceable, it's literally designed from the ground up to be sustainable. So you are getting a great deal here, especially if you're someone who just uses your phone for basic applications but want to use it much longer. I mean, this design is pretty much the pinnacle of repairability, right? Everything is easily accessible and you can do it yourself. They have made very specific design choices like using a non-standard chipset which will be supported for much longer. They claim it will be supported till 2031, which is pretty much unheard of in the industry. So removable battery is like a basic perk that you'll get with this phone. Except for the awesome Fairphone 5, your options are fairly limited and it keeps reducing every year. I'm gonna have to recommend pretty much the same phones that I have recommended in my last year's edition, namely old flagships like the LG V20 or the LG G5. Yes, they came out back in 2016, but they do have removable batteries and pretty good performance overall. And if you're someone who's willing to try some custom ROMs on there, you can definitely get some better life out of those devices. Same for the Galaxy Note 4 as well. Again, super old device, comes with the laggy Samsung's TouchWiz UI, which was crap back in the day, so you pretty much have to replace it. It's not that hard really, it's pretty easy to do, but Samsung had that various Exynos issues back then, so you pretty much have to figure out which model you're getting. If you're getting the Snapdragon unit, you're lucky. Also, if you're under select carriers, you could get something like the Galaxy Xcover 6 Pro. It's meant to be a ruggedized repairable phone, so it does offer a removable battery, and since it's a newer device, obviously it'll have better quality components and it'll perform better than these older flagships. But like I mentioned, it's not available in every market, so if you can't get it, you will have to stick to an older flagship or the Fairphone 5. There are some extremely budget-friendly options too, like the Galaxy J series phones. Yeah, you can consider those. There are some phones from BLU as well. It's a fairly entry-level company and they do make decent phones, but I'm afraid that hardware will not really be of much use to you. Other than the basic smartphone features, you can't really do much with it and it'll be a slow, laggy experience. That's why I suggest you stick to a higher end phone compared to lower end ones. The price difference really won't be that much since we are talking about like 7-8-year-old devices. If I do find even more options, I'll leave them in the description. You can check them out and feel free to leave your suggestions in the comments too. Maybe I'm missing a really nice phone model that has a removable battery. Also, here's one interesting news that you may already know. The European Union is kind of mandating all smartphone manufacturers to have easily replaceable batteries in their phones. This new rule will go into effect in 2027, so it's still pretty far away. The idea is to give these companies some time to come up with a removable battery design, because by design these removable battery phones are slightly bulkier and the battery capacities are often not as high as they can for that same form factor. There are always downsides to any design, and that's the downside we have to deal with, unless someone comes up with something better. I'm hoping to see the classic removable back on our phones again. Nothing beats the convenience of having a spare battery charged with you and just swap your phone's battery whenever you want to instantly boost it up. Incredibly helpful for on-the-go situations where you don't have to worry about charging your phone. Hopefully this rule comes into play. Now usually I don't talk about governments making rules because it takes forever for them to come to action, but EU has been doing some pretty amazing work, right? They basically slapped Apple to give them USB-C ports on iPhones. And European market is so huge and influential that they have the power to make these companies change their decision. Even though these rules would only be for products sold in the EU, manufacturers who are selling internationally will find it expensive to make a separate unit for EU and then for the rest of the world. That's why Apple just replaced the Lightning port from all units of their iPhones regardless of where you buy in the world, because it's simpler to manufacture that way. So I'm really hopeful for this European mandate to come into picture, and I'm also excited to see how these modern smartphones will look like with removable batteries, because now we have newer tech. We have the split battery design where batteries are split into multiple components. I wonder how that'll work. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I'm looking forward to some exciting designs ahead. Either way, that was my list. Let me know what you think.